Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming to you live to talk briefly about the first episode of a brand new anime I just got done watching called Isekai wa smartphone to Tomo ni, or In a Different World with a Smartphone. And it was an interesting first episode. It was something a little more passive to watch. It wasn't exactly, it's very Konosuba-esque, but without all the highfalutin hijinks, hilarity, absurdity. The basic trope of a cat dies and he's transported to a sort of fictional fantasy world, an RPG fantasy aesthetic. And it was passively enjoyable. As we start off the series, we find that God, air quotes, apparently was getting a little too tipsy with the tea, putting too many tea leaves in the brew, and he was throwing lightning about, and he didn't realize, uh-oh, Toya, the main character, just happened to be nearabouts and gets struck by lightning, gets killed. And so to atone for this, to make up for this as an apology, God decides, I am going to let you slip into another world. I'll bring you back to life and you'll live in this other alternate world. And that's very much what happens. He keeps this promise. He also promises Toya that his natural-born abilities, his agility, his physical prowess and things will be a little bit escalated, and he'll be able to utilize magic, which exists in this world. And so it wasn't highfalutin, there wasn't hijinks, there wasn't hilarity, and it was very sort of a passive, just enjoyable, laid-back watch. You know, one of the things I found the most intriguing, though, was his dealing with the people in this new world. A couple of sisters, they're said to be twins. Linz is one of them, and I forget the name of the other. And it's just interesting their reactions to all of the things he's capable of. He's not capable of reading the natural language, but they can all speak the same language. He has no problem with that. Much as the title suggests, he's got a smartphone, sort of an iPhone that he brought with him, and it's been reconfigured to, encapsulate maps of the entire environment and such like that, translate signage and where he is. He can figure that out by looking at the smartphone. It also retains a lot of, I guess, internet linkages to the old world, because he finds the recipe for ice cream, which is something he sort of pulls out of his hat when this restaurateur woman comes in and says, I'm looking for some kind of new snack, something to really boost clientele coming in and everything like that, but something that's light and breezy, and he looks for the recipe of ice cream because they want something that'll appeal to women, and this works out great. But all the while, Linz and her sister, they're kind of like, what is with this guy, when wondering about magic, they unleash this whole bag full of magical crystals where it's said wielders of them can only utilize one or two, maybe three at the most, at a given time. There's no one known that actually can utilize all the elemental magics and everything. Something Toya is apparently able to do because of God's blessing upon him, and he just blows their ever-loving minds, summoning water, earth, dirt, that kind of thing, wind and light and darkness, and this is very abnormal. And I really loved the reactions of these girls to say, whoa, what is going on? What are you? You're not like us. You're weird. You're different. What's going on there? And the thing about that is I was left really hoping that maybe this is something that escalates. I'm hoping there will be antagonistic qualities, whether characters or forces or whatever you want to say, that may garner and gain knowledge of Toya's existing in this world and the things he's capable of. He utilizes this smartphone, as I say, and he calls it a sort of magical device that he is the only capable wielder of, and not to ask too many questions about and such like that. And it seems like it would really get pitched and intriguing if he starts to run into trouble because of everything he's capable of. I don't know if that's the direction it's going to go. You don't really get a sense of anything ominous happening at any given time in the future. So I don't know what the direction of this will be, and I will not be covering it episodically in reviews or discussions unless something spectacular happens, and that intrigue does boost, with some sort of nefarious component, focusing on him, making him become the focal point of trying to figure out how he's capable of all these things and such like that. That's very much what I was left wanting. It's very much what I want by the end of the episode. I want to see something very dramatic. I mean, you can still have the comedy and the highfalutin hijinks, not nearly as much as a Konosuba sort of series. But there was, you know, some mild comedy and such like that, and it was cute, it was fun, and I would really be hoping that they're gonna, you know, make a fuel injection of, uh-oh, he's existing in this world now. There's almost nothing he can't do. He's OP. But rather than everyone just accepting it and being grateful for this, they're starting to be like, dude, what is up with this guy? Maybe we should find out. Maybe you know, we can benefit if we either work in tandem with him, or we exploit him, or we kill him and steal his abilities and his phone, whatever that device is. That, to me, would be very interesting. I don't know if it's going to go in that direction at all. And were it not for being left wishing and hoping that, I wouldn't have even bothered doing this video about it. It would just be something I'd either done a little write-up over on Facebook, where I'm writing up anything that I'm watching that I haven't been talking about in these videos. It didn't feel really worth talking about, with the exception of to say, I think it's really interesting that people are having this adverse reaction to him. Even the people who have been taken into his confidence, these two sisters, and who are admiring him and interested in him and such like that. You kind of get an idea that in the ending animation and music, maybe the sister Linz or whatever might actually start to feel romantically about him, and then there's a tear fall or whatever like that, like, oh, what's going to happen there? You know, are they going to be split up? Is it not going to work out? Is he going to get killed because he's going to be hunted down because of his powers and abilities that are outmatched to anyone else in this world? I don't know, but that would be gangbusters. That would be spectacular. If the story goes in that direction, I have no idea whether that'll be the case at all. But I found it interesting for that, and I found it worth talking about, to at least put it out there that if you watch this, I would, you know, be very surprised if you don't find that aspect of it intriguing as well. That it wasn't played with any great poignance, but it was there. It was there. They were noticeably taken aback by the things he could do, the suggestions he was making, the questions he had, and that could escalate, and that could make it that much more intriguing and interesting and engaging and compelling and all those other superlatives that I'm at a loss for to say. But I don't know if that's the way it's going to go. It could just be a passive, it never gets anywhere. You know, they go on an adventure every episode. It's episodic in nature, and it doesn't really, you know, become cumulative toward a specific ending or not. No idea. But I think the potential for really having, you know, the sort of, again, the nefarious components of the world, if there are any that exist, you know, would be pointedly looking at him, wanting to exploit him, wanting to figure out why he is so gifted, and with the way God linked his phone so that he can communicate with God back and forth and such like that, even in this new world, this environment that he now is going to be living and breathing and surviving in, that, you know, makes me wonder if God will not be called back in to the story at some point down the line, and maybe that'll be an answer to his being endangered because of all the powers this God gave him. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you've seen this particular show as well, Isekai wa smartphone to Tomo ni, or in a different world with a smartphone, and answer this very poignant, important question of all time. If you too found yourself transported to another world, a fantasy world where magic and quests and all this kind of stuff was rife, and you had a smartphone, what would you use it for? I think that's a pretty interesting question, and I know what a lot of people would answer. You know, that can just, I'll let you percolate on that one. So yeah, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.